any of the other friends. It's available at a very minimal, whatever you want to donate. You can take the as many copies you want and share it with others. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Everyone is comfortable? Are you sure? Are you really sure you're comfortable?
As comfortable as you could be.
So does that mean you're comfortable or you're not comfortable? We're not pressing you to be comfortable. We want you to be comfortable. So everyone is comfortable? Yeah? Okay.
चल रहा है कहाँ से चल रहा है
Should we start directly? Jai Radha Madhav. Yeah? Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today, all over the globe, wherever we accept the importance of Sri Krishna, we celebrate this day as the day where the message of the Bhagavad Gita was revealed for the very first time in this universe, on this planet. Therefore, it is called as Gita Jayanti Divas, or the day of the advent of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhagavan Shri Krishna understood the need of the utterly confused Arjuna. Arjun was not sure as to what his action should be in life. All of his predictions on the stock market had failed. So he was really shattered. So Krishna explained certain principles of life to him. And then let him decide on the course of action or the direction in which he would want his life to be going. So traditionally, we believe that this event happened during the month of Margashirsha. Very, very pious month. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says that amongst all the months of the zodiac or the calendar, the 12 months of the calendar, the month of Margashirsha represents him. So there have been very detailed discussions on why he mentioned Margashirsha. There's nothing mystical about it. One of the ways we can look at it is that during the time of Sri Krishna and Arjuna, this was the month where everyone was doing very well. Therefore, it was the most important month of the entire year. Maybe this was where the job openings were there, new jobs opened up. This is when you got your yearly bonus. Really good enough. Whatever. Trying to make it very relevant. So it's not, what about Margashirsha? Why this month? Because it was quite relevant in those times. Maybe it is still relevant in today's times. There are various considerations as to why Krishna says, Masanam Margashirshaham. Amongst the various months of the zodiac, I am the month of Margashirsha. So what is the month of Margashirsha? According to the English calendar, it is typically November, either November, December, or December, January. Typically like that. Generally, it is December, January. This year, it began a little early. It began in late November, the month of Margashirsha. Do you know why? Because most probably it was a Vedic leap year or something like that. You recently had?
We had Vedic leap year in 2020, that extra month, what we call Malmas.
Yeah, yes. So what happens because of that?
15 days extra get added, but then it starts to reduce.
But if it is a month, then not just 15 days.
It's a whole month.
Yeah, it has to be both the pakshas. It has to be Shukla Paksha. It has to be both the fortnights. Therefore, it's called a mass. So what happened was that in the Vedic calendar, there was room for an extra month. So Vedic calendar is a calendar of tithis. It's not the calendar of how the sun goes around the planet. It's a calendar of tithis. So for that particular year, certain events got postponed or stretched a little bit. And the compensation comes in the following years. Now we are compensating for that. So it was a little early, November, December. Is that interesting? No, it is not. But then if you come to a satsang program and hear just katha, then already you're tuned into the sleep zone. So something out of syllabus, if mentioned, could catch your attention. Not necessarily, but could catch your attention. So what is Margashirsha? So there is a nakshatra known as Mrigashira. One of the constellations, one of the 27 constellations, there is a constellation called as Mrigashira. So when the zodiac in which Mrigashira enters, then the next 2 fortnights fall in the month of Margashirsha. So what is important about the Mrigashira nakshatra? It is a very dependable nakshatra, as are all nakshatras. Dependable in terms of what time of the movement of the celestial planets, what time of such movement would be favorable for certain human activities. That is why nakshatra is important. We did not have the digital clock then. So time was only understood according to the movement of the celestial bodies and their effects on the seasons. Because you see, although right now the entire supply chain is digitally managed, ultimately the supply chain is dependent on food and water. Water has to be accessed. Food has to be produced. And both are dependent on how the seasons work. So Mrigashira would indicate what season is going to come now. And for that, what is the zodiac? The zodiac is where on a particular day, when those planets are on the horizon of the day where the sun is rising. Is that technical? It's very technical. And imagine they had to do that without any software program. Just understand how perceptive they had to be. Because that would be the window during which they had to plant, or they had to water, or they had to add fertilizers, or they had to cut the crop, or they had to thresh and get it to the market. Now, if you were into supply chains, then you would understand how important it was. In today's times, just a couple of years of where the supply chain was affected, people who could not even get toilet papers. There's a big crisis. Most of you must still have some toilet papers remaining from the stock that you accumulated 2 years ago. Supply chain. It's very important. For sustenance, for the economy, everything. So today it has become a little easier because we have digitized a lot of things. It's become a little easier. Or should we say it has made us a little lazier? We become less perceptive. One has to specially plan on seeing a sunrise or sunset. And I don't mean digitally. And we have buttons that kind of raise up the curtains or pull them down. And then we actually could have sensors also that could tell us sun is rising, sun is rising. So then we raise up the curtains. So digitization has helped. However, it has made us less perceptive towards life forces. Is it right? Today, if you ask someone, if you see someone with glasses, you ask them, what is the power of your glasses? What is the strength? Previously, they did not know anything about, so they would ask, can you read this? It was more personal. Can you see this? But today, it's all about numbers. Isn't it? So today, it's like, oh, you've been married 25 years, 50 years. Wow. Previously, if you ask people, how long have you been married? They would say forever. Like it's been an entire lifetime. Today's 50 years is like being too optimistic, I guess, but 25 years, big event, celebration. And sometimes we are not even sure of that. So every year there has to be a celebration. Why? Because life as a living mechanism has been somewhere put into the background. What matters more is, what are you worth? And I'm not saying that it is good or bad. What I'm saying is, perception has changed. Therefore, on Gita Jayanti, everyone simply wants to just read the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, does it? Because it's numbers, right? 80. And if it's a lot, then all right, 12th and 15th. And having done that, because the numbers have been done, we are like, yeah, we celebrated Gita Jayanti very nicely. It's good. I'm not saying it's wrong. Please don't take that to be me trying to chide someone, like point out defects. No. What I'm saying is the way we perceive life and events nowadays is somewhat in this manner. Is it correct? Is it wrong? Previously, a lot of people did not have a digital version or the printed version. So they had to remember it. They had to chant the verses through memory. If there was a few people who knew how to chant, would be approached on that day. Could you please? Today, who's approached on anyone who's considered to be relevant enough? Oh, we have Gita Jayanti program, so we have invited someone from the temple. Whether that person has memorized verses or not doesn't really matter, because today's times, why should we memorize? There's no need of memorization. I'm not saying memorization is important today's time. I mean, it would be helpful. However, when you have the digital versus digital copy in front of you, it helps. However, it definitely has interfered with interpersonal dealings. So anyone who can read through the verses is good enough to lead the chanting. Now, most of you are, into either coding, programming, or QA analysis. How would you deal with a team that only gets involved with your work on the day you hire them? Before that, they have no idea what it is about. And after the day of hiring, they least care about whatever they're involved in. Because that is how it is going to happen. Oh, we have this program, Gita Jayanti. So would you like to read? Would you like to chant the verses? Why don't we do like this? We'll divide it so that everyone feels involved. So you do chapter 1, you do chapter 2, you do chapter 3, you do chapter 4, and like that. Now, as a team lead or as a person who is involved in management, do you think this is a good way of managing an important event like celebrating the advent of the Bhagavad Gita? So what should we do? How can we use digitization at the same time conserve what life demands of living people? What does life demand of living people? What is life need of living people? That you're able to relate with each other. We are emotional beings. We are not objects of things. So can we try, something a little different? Could we read the verses of the Bhagavad Gita and bring in some subjectiveness rather than just objectify that? Because that is what is consciousness. That shows we are conscious. We are conscious beings. And thus we already have audio versions of the Bhagavad Gita. Many times we just let that play. And we are kind of, as we say, being purified in the background. Can we consciously approach these events? Because that is what time is wanting us to do. Give us an opportunity. Every day it's not possible. So Gita Jayanti is a day where you are like, it hits you. Today at least. So could there be a conscious approach? That is all the event is asking of us. The event is just wanting us to be humans that realize this knowledge will help us. Yes. A great saintly personality has described this wonderful opportunity that we have to remember the verses of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in profound words. He says, in Sanskrit language, he says, Gita sugita kartavya kim anya shastra vistare ya swayam padmanabhasya mukhapadmad vinasrita. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself has spoken, it is through his lotus mouth, the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Gita Sugita. Gita Sugita. Kim Anya Shastra. If you have performed this duty, if that is what you have done, be assured that there's nothing more that is needed in life to be done. Let's suppose the Bank of America or the Federal Bank were to give you a check worth $1 billion. Do you think you're going to think of any, like, should I go to some other bank and see if they can honor this check or not? Should I try to earn some more money from somewhere else? It's the Bank of America that is giving you that check. You're going to be so very fixated on it. That is what this great personality is saying. The Supreme Lord is giving you this knowledge through his own lotus mouth. So how excited should we be when we have this opportunity? And be totally satisfied knowing that this is it. I don't have to run to any other place because there's no other need that I have. All my needs have been fulfilled by this wonderful knowledge given by Sri Krishna. So, Kim Anya Shastra Vistare. All right. So, how many of you have heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How many have not heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Show of hands, please. Not heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after our presentation, you can ask some of those who know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and get updated. All right. For now, I'm just going to speak about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord himself. He is an avatar in the sense that he has descended from the spiritual world, the Supreme Lord. And we have the good fortune of knowing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or knowing of his activities. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. He took to the renounced order of life. And he started living in the holy town of Sri Jagannath Puri. He had this urge to travel and help people. So in those days, which was about roughly 550 years ago, he traveled by foot or on foot through the eastern shores and the western shores of India and the peninsular part of India. He traveled through those parts. And these have been well documented in a book called as Chaitanya Charitamrita. The book is in Bengali. Fortunately for us, it has been translated into English. So, in his travels to the peninsular India, this travel is referred to as his travel to South India. Dakshina Yatra. That is how the book describes. Now, in those days, Dakshin was good enough, but in today's times, you have to say South India. They did not say Dakshin India Yatra or Dakshin Bharat Yatra, nothing like that. It's just Dakshin Yatra. In Bengali language, so it is Dakshin. Dakshin Yatra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embarked. He came to a very holy place. It's on the banks of the river Kaveri, an island between two branches of the river Kaveri. Here the Supreme Lord resides as Sri Ranganatha Swami. So the place is called as Sri Rangam. So there are a lot of people got attracted to him. They invited him to their homes. They were inspired to chant the holy names along with him, because that is what he would do. For the most part, he would do a lot of kirtan. So people would also participate in kirtan. Now one day, during his stay in Sri Rangam, he came for his morning darshan of Sri Ranganatha Swami. He came to see the Lords. See the Lord. And then he was doing the parikrama of the temple premises. He was going around the Sanctum Sanctorum. Something interesting happened. He saw a lot of people who were sitting in different parts of that arena, that space, and going about their activities within the temple. So they had their spiritual activities. They were doing that. Somebody was making garlands, somebody was reading, somebody was chanting, somebody was meditating, so on and so forth, individually or in groups. So what is the interesting event that we are going to unfold, that is going to unfold now? So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'll read the Bengali and then we'll understand the translation. All right? Say Khetre rahe ko Vaishnava Brahmana Devalaya asikore Gita Vartana. Say Khetre rahe. In that place, in Sri Rangam, there lived a Vaishnava Brahman. Most probably somebody who was born in a Brahmana family and was a dedicated follower of Lord Ranganath. So Vaishnava Brahman. Devalaya se kore Gita Varta. So he would come to temple premises and he would chant the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. This is not the day of Gita Jayanti, by the way. This was his regular routine. All right? So Gita Avartan, he would read page to page, or he would chant the verses from verse number 1 to verse number 700. अष्टादश अध्याय पढ़े आनंद आवेशे अशुद्ध पढ़े न लोक करो पाहसे. So अष्टादश अध्याय, 18 chapters. So you would read all the 18 chapters. Ananda Veshe. You would be very, very happy reading. Or Podhe. So he would chant. He would be very happy chanting. Ashuddha Padhena. His pronunciation was not really good. Or sometimes Not only was his pronunciation like broken Sanskrit, broken words, but sometimes he would mixed up the verses too. So Ashuddha Padhina. He was oblivious to everything. He would every day do that. He would read the verses. However, there are a lot of people who come to the temple because they don't have anything else to do. That is when they take out their cell phones and want to show someone else, hey, this is what is happening here. Is it interesting? Is it interesting? Is it interesting? Those are not the days of the cell phones. So what would they do? They'd just talk to each other and say, just look at him. Doesn't even know how to properly chant the verses. His pronunciation is so bad. Kare upahasi. Have you ever been in a situation like that? I'm not speaking of a situation where we are being made fun of. The other way around. Isn't it? It seems as if we have this natural proclivity, this inclination, just to have a good laugh at someone else's expense. Somehow it's there, isn't it? And if someone gets offended, we're like, it just happened. We did not mean to laugh at you. And what did you mean to do? Do you do such meaningless activities quite often? If you did not mean to do that. So upahasi. Is it good? Is it bad? We are not here to give lessons on morality. I don't think so. I have that kind of platform. But what I'm pointing out is that it seems so easy to be laughing at someone else's shortcomings. It takes a lot of training of one's understanding of life to not react in that way. It takes a lot of training. Unfortunately, none of us have that kind of desire to have that serious training of the mind. It's too much. It's much more easier to just have a few lighter moments of life, someone else's expense. Just as we feel that, hey, life is being kind on us, giving us a few light moments. Sometimes we can be at the receiving end too. Life would give other people that opportunity to laugh at us. You should try and not be too reactive in such situations. As I said, it takes a lot of training. Lots. It takes a lifetime of training, actually. So, loko upahasa. People were there. They would laugh. They were laughing at him. But that was not all. Why? Because that is not the only reaction that humans have. Keha hase keha ninde taha nahi mane avishta hoya gita padhe anindita mane. Keha hase, some laughed, some joked. Keha ninde, some actually ridiculed him or scolded him. Abused him, used abusive language. You moron. By doing this, you're bringing a big calamity on the entire community. Something like that. Very abusive. Kehaninde. Taha nahi mane. He did not take it very seriously. He did not become offended by all of these reactions that people were giving unto him. Abhishek, why? Because he was so engrossed in the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. He was like, my God, this is so interesting. He would be chanting those verses and he was completely involved in those verses. Although it was Ashuddha Padhena. He was very much involved in that. And that somehow or the other gave him the armor. It kind of gave him that, it made him stay in a zone where he was unaffected by people's reactions. So generally when we find somebody in that situation, we think that they are challenged mentally, and they're like, well, maybe this person is a fool or is mentally challenged. So it's totally engrossed. And with great happiness, he would just go on reciting the verses. This was noticed by someone, by the author. The author writes, Tulakashu kampashveda yavata patana dekhi anandita hoiga Mahaprabhurmana. Because he was so involved, when you get involved in an event and your emotions are also there manifesting, what happens? If there's a particular event and you're really moved by it, sometimes you have shivers down your spine. Sometimes you have tears rolling down. You start sniffling like that. Isn't it? So, Pulakash, he had tears rolling down his eyes. His hairs were standing on end. Kampa, he was having shivers. Shweda, he was feeling very excited. Sometimes when you get excited and you're involved in something, you actually start sweating. So Shweda, he had moist palms. Now, as we are hearing this, can we reflect when was the time where we felt like this? If for at least one verse of the Bhagavad Gita. For at least one verse. And if it did have that experience, did it last for the next 4 or 5 verses? So specifically chose this particular topic from the Chaitanya Charitamrita because it's very helpful to reflect on. Seeing him so happy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was kind of feeling this ocean of happiness, just seeing him happy. He had just seen Lord Ranganath Swami going around, and this gentleman captured his attention. Mahaprabhu noticed that he was chanting, but Ashuddha Paddhati. His chanting was not always correct. Mahaprabhu Puchilatane Shuna Mahashay. Mahaprabhu went up to him and said, my dear sir, this was the first time somebody addressed him as sir. Everyone called him a moron. Mahaprabhu says, Shuna Mahashay, my dear sir, kindly hear me out. Kona artha jani tomar eto sukha hoy. What is the understanding that you're finding within the Bhagavad Gita that is making you so happy? Most probably Mahaprabhu must have visited a lot of us while we were reading Bhagavad Gita, because he must have seen to the contrary how distressed we are. So it's really inspired to ask this gentleman, who are you? Where are you from? You're not from this planet. You must not be from Irving or Dallas. Because when I visit those places, I find people like, when is this guy going to get over? Now, sometimes little children are like, Daddy, Papa, whatever, Dad. How much more? I'm hungry. And sometimes there are big children who do that. Much more. It's rarely, now you have to tell me whether I'm right in my analysis or not. There's rarely been a moment where people are like, can I read more? Can I read more? If you ask someone, can you do it once again? And I did not. Like, why didn't you pay attention? I have to repeat it again for you. Or it's like, come tomorrow. So obviously Mahaprabhu is very much interested. My dear sir, what is this understanding that you're gaining which is causing you so much happiness? I've never seen people have such kind of happiness. Now this was a shocker even for this gentleman, because he'd never seen people ask about whether by reciting Bhagavad Gita, do you feel happy? Mostly people ask, by reading this Bhagavad Gita, will my miseries go away? Will my problems go away? And if someone is really happy in life, they're like, well, I've been told that if I want this happiness to continue, I must read it at least once, therefore I have to do it. But it's so rare to find someone like, oh, you're reading it again? You have so many problems in life? And no, I'm just happy reading it. That kind of response is so rare. And maybe if you find a response like that, we should give them an Oscar or something. What is it that is making you so happy? You want to hear? Or should I stop here?
No.
That's online, you can go and read. Viprakahe murkhani shabdartha na jani. Sir, you're asking me what is the meaning that, the understanding that I'm having, or what is the meaning that I'm getting from this? This is shabdartha na jani. I don't know what the words mean. Now, obviously, this person is certified to be mentally challenged. That would be the diagnosis of most educated people. You don't even know the meaning and still you're feeling happy. So he says, Shabdartha na jani. So most probably this is something called as a atishya. When a person is very much involved in an activity and they're finding happiness, if someone interrupts them, they're like, I don't know, just let me be. I'm so happy doing it. I don't know, right now I don't want to be disturbed. But I'm not saying that is the understanding here. What I'm saying is that we should not take it very literally. Because this gentleman would do it every single day. So he says, Murkhami, Shabdartha na jani, Shuddha Shuddha Gita Podi, Guru Atyamani. My teacher told me, you should read the Bhagavad Gita. The teacher must have told him many other things, and yet we could have found out that maybe this is the only thing this person can read actually or recite. Because obviously, if someone is a Shuddha Padhena, not reading it, not really reciting it properly, then we can deduce that most probably couldn't do anything else because they are not as simple as the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. The verses of the Bhagavad Gita are really very simple format. The meter is so simple compared to many other compositions. The composition of Bhagavad Gita is the simplest, really. The Upanishads are very tough. The Puranas are also not as simple. The Mahabharata itself is intense. Within that, the Bhagavad Gita is very, very simplest. And if we have studied that, then we realize that how easy it is to read the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Nothing could be more simple than this in the Sanskrit language, in the Sanskrit composition. No wonder it is so popular across all generations. Because anything that is very simple, PUBG is very simple, so it's very popular all across. So it's TikTok. Anything more complicated? Only a few people can do it. So why is the Bhagavad Gita so popular? Think about it. And if this is the most simple and yet profound, and still we do not have the necessary tools to approach it, speaks a lot about our own capabilities, doesn't it? So it says, Guru Agyamani, my teacher told me that you should do it. So Shuddha Bodhi. I try to just like a child is told to do homework at school, this person was given his homework. Shuddha Bodhi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, I can understand that. But why are you feeling so happy? I've seen children do their homework. Rarely are they very happy. They're only happy if it is done. They're done with it. It's done. Can I play now? But you're not approaching it like that. You're very happy reciting the verses. So what is your happiness? And this is what is his happiness. He says, Arjunera Rathe Krishna Hoira Judhara Vashiya Chehate Tatra Shamala Sundara. I see that's sitting on Arjuna's rath, holding the reins of the horses. Arjuna's chariot is a Shamala Sundara, the beautiful, dark complexioned Lord as his charioteer. And Arjuna is ordering him, take the chariot to the left. And he says, yes, sir, take the chariot to the right. And he's saying, sure. Try and reflect on this. Today, some of us may have read the Bhagavad Gita. We must have heard the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. If you did have the meditation of Krishna sitting on the chariot of Arjuna as his charioteer, good for you. If you did not, then we missed an opportunity. As I said, in the digital world, there are certain capabilities that we have kind of forgotten to use. How as humans we should be interactive. So that was what was making him so happy. And he could still chant the verses, which basically means that there was some memorization. How many of you chant Hare Krishna and sometimes are chanting Hare Krishna and you get a picture of the Lord in your mind? How many of you have had that experience? None of you? If you've had, please raise your hands. Maybe once upon a time, sometime it had happened. A picture of the Lord, maybe the deities, maybe something else. Did it affect your chanting? Did it affect your chanting, or was it instinct still chanting? So when we say that this person was remembering Krishna and still he was doing Shuddha Shuddha Padhena, his tongue was still reciting the verses of the Gita. So we shouldn't consider him to be an ordinary person. We shouldn't take him to be a normal illiterate. At the same time, he was definitely an object of other people's upahas, an object of their mockery. He was unaffected. Why? He was completely immersed in the happiness of his meditation. Today, we still have that opportunity. According to the clock that we follow in present times, we still have 4 hours to this event. 3 hours, 45 minutes. Maybe you would want to meditate on this particular description from Chaitanya Charitamrita on Gita Jayanti Divas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? None? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivriksha ki jai, Hare Krishna.
Let us thank